Hello, my name is DeWayne Dority. I am the creator of the Wakeverse. I have a great line of characters that I made up in my world. Wake Comics, my slogan is Wake Up and Thrive. And I have a lot of awesome, great books coming in the future. I have Liar launching August 12th. You can follow me on IG at Write a Show. You can follow my Wakeverse on IG as well. Follow Wake Comics on Facebook. And I have a YouTube channel at Write a Show. I just appreciate everybody listening and having me on the show. And you're watching and listening to Two Geeks Talking.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Two Geeks Talking is an entertainment industry interview show where we interview the creative people from the comic, film, TV, movie, and video game industries. And of course, I'm your host, Kurt Sasso. We're joined today by a comic writer and an overall amazing person. He's created many comics in the past. First time on the show. Always love to have a first timer here when it comes to Two Geeks Talking. We're joined by the creator of Liar and Shapemaster, which we'll be talking about here today. DeWayne Dority, how are you doing today?
Doing good, man. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
It's good having you on here. You know, for those that don't know anything about yourself as a creative person, tell us who you are and what you're bringing to Two Geeks Talking today.
My name is DeWayne Dority. I am the creator of the Wakeverse. I've had two books published already on Kickstarter: Crescent Blue, Conquer Darkness, and Blood Sable. I have my Shapemaster story, my first kids book on Kickstarter right now. And in a few months' time, around August, I plan to launch my first 50-page horror comic, Liar. So I'm excited for that. So that's what I have going on right now.
Well, that's awesome. It's a pretty big jump when you go from horror to children's books. Like, how did that come into play?
Well, I had Liar pretty much done for years now. I had that book already done, and I'm so proud of it. But Shapemaster, I decided to do it in 2019. When COVID happened, everybody was inside, so I decided to sit down and just create a kid's book for my son. He has autism, so I just wanted to, he's my biggest inspiration. He's the reason why I got back into art. And so when I created Shapemaster, I just wanted to create a book for him for, his autistic abilities and stuff that he has. I just wanted to make an awesome little kid's book that he could enjoy and look at. The colors and all the characters are based off things he has enjoyed throughout his life. So doing that and comics has been a little different because trying to be like Dr. Seuss and rhyming is kind of hard. Rhyming is a really hard thing to do when you do something for kids.
I find rhymes just come in a spur of a moment. It's not
It
something
does.
you can actively plan. It's just like someone tells a joke and then you can create a rhyme off.
It's true. Yeah. When I was doing the rhyming, anything I could rhyme with anything I had, I was like, that works. It works. I can get it done.
Is there a favorite rhyme in the book that you like that you kind of always go back to that just kind of fits your overall creativity?
Yes. I love King Rectangle. The shape is not, it's just awesome. I just love the King Rectangle. Like I said, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I have
Sure.
the book right here. I said, a rectangle is not made for a clown. The shape is adored by a king and his crown. And so, yeah, King Rectangle is probably my favorite character. He's the first design I made for my son.
Mhm.
So, yeah, the shape is adored by a king and his crown is pretty much the one line that I enjoyed when I wrote down, Shapemaster and doing King Rectangle. It was pretty awesome to do that character. I love King Rectangle. He's the one who started it all.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of those old children's books. Well, I say old because I'm old, but I mean, it was talking about the shapes and the figures and the
Yeah.
emotions. I can't remember the series title, but it was a very influential series, especially as a child growing up here. What are some of the children's books that you grew up with that just really sparked your mind?
My son loves Dr. Seuss, and I pretty much grew up on Dr. Seuss as well. So to have my son love those books, the ones I grew up, especially Green Eggs and Ham,
Yeah.
the characters inside that book inspired me to do Shapemaster, especially the old man who hated the green eggs and ham. He's so yeah. When I was doing Shapemaster, definitely Dr. Seuss was a huge, huge inspiration for me. And my son loved watching Kids First. It's a little show here in Oklahoma that he would watch every once in a while, and he loved Coco Melon. So I tried to draw inspirations from all the stuff that he loved and try to put it into my little book. So yeah, definitely Dr. Seuss, without a doubt. He's the king of kids books. So he was definitely the one guy who inspired me to do my first kids book.
Because children's television has evolved and children's books have evolved from handheld to now interactive technology here, is there something that gives you hope for the future of children's when it comes to this type of interactivity and maybe comics?
To me personally, I still think physical things that you can touch and hold in your hand are still going to be things people want in the future. Digital is great. It's helped me in my own creative purposes. Using Procreate's helped me be a better artist and learn how to do better books and cleaner quality. So definitely that's a great aspect to have is, if you need to do it really quickly and just have, be able to write something down and, Procreate and stuff. It works for me. But yeah, physical form is always great. I love having physical stuff. I love having it near me, have literally all the books I've created right next to me already. It's just great when you have something physical in your hand that you've been working on. And I think that's what kids love too is, it brings memories and it lasts a lifetime when you have something that you created in your hand. I think that'll never be taken away. Whenever you create something physically that you worked hard on, it's going to always just be awesome to look on the shelf and be like, I remember when I created that. I remember when I made that for my son. I remember when I bought that. So yeah, definitely the memories behind physical is definitely never going to quit.
Everyone usually has a process, one of those perfect days where you're in that creative zone. What is it like for you from morning to night? What is your creativity like when it comes to trying to set your routines?
Like I said, my son is autistic, so usually I have to work around his routine, his schedule. So usually I draw at night most of the time, or when my wife is taking a nap around 3 to 4. So those are like I take at least an hour between the day to try to either start writing my concept for my book, and then I'll try to sketch out stuff. I usually love to write first and then do drawings next because when I am able to write it down, it just gives me a clearer focus on what I want to create. So that's pretty much what I do at night when everyone's in bed and laying down. I'll sit and start drawing and I'll start inking stuff and just get everything ready to go. So that's really why I'm able to complete projects pretty quickly because usually at night I stay up for about an hour or two. I stay up late at night and I draw stuff and just put pages together. So that's what I usually do. That's my process. I'll usually write it out first. And if something I really want to draw it that day after I'm done writing it down, I get straight into it. I don't wait on it. If it takes me all night until it's like midnight, I'll draw it. And then I'll be like, okay, I did one page. I'm going to bed. Yeah. So that's my process. I usually write, draw, and then pretty much finish it up. That's pretty much what I do. I'll go over it. If I don't like things that I wrote or I drew, I'll redraw it and I'll rewrite it. So that's pretty much my process through and through.
So do you have a weird or unexpected source of inspiration for your stories that's just really sparked your creativity besides Shapemaster, like with your other works?
Oh, Pappy Land, like when you were talking about old school stuff, like Pappy Land on OETA was a show. This old man would draw little kid doodles and with a Sharpie. He was the one old man that inspired me to draw. So whenever I was doing Shapemaster, I was like, I want to try to make something goofy like that old man did. So with Shapemaster, I tried to create characters that were unique that people, haven't seen before. So definitely, stuff like that helped me in my creative process. Like I grew up on VHS tapes. I would watch stuff that my dad recorded for me. So Cartoon Network was another inspiration for me. I loved watching. My wife loves Tom and Jerry, so definitely wanted to try to put a little bit of inspiration in there too from that series. So yeah, definitely old school cartoons and just old school shows that were on here in Oklahoma and Arkansas I'd watch. So yeah, definitely Pappy Land. Love that old man. He's still around. I found him on Instagram because I was trying to see if he was still around. He still is, which is cool. And so he's definitely the big inspiration for me, the extra little chink that I needed to do Shapemaster.
So when are you going to collab with him?
I don't know. We'll see. I might send him a message and show him my stuff and see what he thinks about it. That'd be pretty cool to actually get like my old childhood hero to look at my books and see how I fare against all his stuff that he's done over his career.
Well, give him Shapemaster first. I think that would be a good, good in there.
Yeah, because it was so cool. Pappy Land, like it was kind of like Sesame Street. Like the clocks would talk, the phones, the trees, and the things around him would talk. And he would just sit at a desk with his overalls on, his red strapped overalls, and his little cowboy hat with his white beard and hair. And he would just draw and doodle and show kids how to draw and make stuff just with a Sharpie. He wouldn't use a pencil. He'd be like, you draw eye here, and then you draw another circle here, and then you draw the head, a long neck. So it's like, that's pretty much like when I draw, I'm like, okay, so I draw the eye here, I draw the eye here, I'll do the loop, I'll do little crosses for the neck and chin. So yeah, he's definitely inspired me a lot.
Love that. That's great. So have you ever had to overcome creative blocks, whether it's writing or illustrating?
Yeah, definitely illustrating because my Liar book, the first book I did of Liar, it didn't fund on Kickstarter. It really upset me, because that was like my first jump into making my, Wake First happen. I wanted to just start off with a horror book and it almost funded. It was like $35 away and it crushed me. as an artist. And then the second time around, I tried to collab with Liar in another book, and that book didn't come out. So I was almost done a few years ago. I was about to put the pencil down and say, no, I'm done. I'm done doing it. I already jumped in twice. It didn't fare out. And then I decided to do my Crescent Blue Conquer Darkness book. He's my name brand character for my Wakeverse. He's a bubble manipulating master. And when I was sitting there doing all the pages by myself and it funded, I was just like, that's what I needed. I just needed that little boost of people to just enjoy one of my books, because that's what I enjoy, is creating and let other people see what I create. So definitely that little hurdle when Liar didn't fund definitely almost crushed my hopes and aspirations for what I had for the future. So whenever Crescent Blue funded, and then I came right back around and did Blood Sable, that 40-page book. Shout out to John Coates who did the inks for it. Appreciate him very much. I always shout him out for that, because he came in, when I was, thinking about doing Blood Sable, because I had Blood Sable sitting for years. I already had the story written and stuff. And when it funded, I was just so proud. I was like, okay, I got a little bit got a couple footsteps in the door. I can do this. I can keep doing this. I just got to keep believing. And so those two books, definitely those two characters definitely helped me say, you know what, just don't give up on what you are creating, because you got something here. You got something. If people are willing to back your stuff, that you got something here. So just keep going. So yeah, that little step in the road that happened, I'm kind of glad Liar didn't fund the first couple of times, the first time it didn't fund, and the second time the collab didn't happen. So I was able to sit down and do that 50-page book all by myself, just be able to just draw how I wanted, just put all my heart and soul into Liar. And so it's going to come out August 12th. I'm so proud of it. I'm going to launch it on my father's birthday. That's a significance of why it's launching. But yeah, this that little hurdle of Liar not funding was just the thing I needed to just spark everything I wanted to do in the future. So shout out to that book. I have the original art for it as well. So I always look at it when I'm getting down and out. I'm like, you got this. You got this.
I love it. Your positivity is really infectious. I love the fact that you went after something you wanted to create. You got it done. You're going to have another Kickstarter coming out here. That's wonderful. At what point do you look at the comic book scene and you say, you know what, I really want to write character X or character Y? What is a comic book that you wish you had written, and why?
I love DC's Wildcat. Love that character to pieces. The guy who literally trained Batman. He's literally a boxer who's just a human who can take out anybody that he wants to, but he also has a flaw, like he's getting old. And that's a great character I'd love to write. Just like, I think that character in DC is underutilized. Like, the Wildcat is a great character. Like, put him in there. He's a brawler. He's like Daredevil. Just give that man some more books where he can fight off, some of Batman's arch nemesis, like, because they're pretty much in the same town. Just let him have at it. Yeah, but DC's Wildcats, like, he was one of the inspirations when I drew Blood Sable. DC Wildcat, and I think it's Wildcat's Wildstorm. There's a character in there, I forgot, Backlash. He was the character that helped inspire me to do Blood Sable. Those two characters were just, I love their backstories, their colors, and their power set. So definitely those two characters were something I just always enjoyed. And Wildcat's always been the character I'm like, man, when I see him in animated, I'm like, he needs to be on the big screen. Like, that's a good character. Like, when Batman says he's one of the best trainers, like, dude, that's a great character I think needs to be seen more. And I think DC needs to hurry up and get some more of their, undervalued characters out there, because I think it'd bring a lot more people in the seats to watch, their shows and their movies.
Yeah, but DC's always been great for animated, but they've never been great definitely. For live not spectacularly well with live action, I should say.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Other than Batman 89. So
yeah,
that's just a classic.
Yeah, Batman the animated series is great. Like, best all time.
Yeah. But even Justice League and everything like that DC has put together in that respect has been like, okay, if it was on, I'd just drop everything and I'd watch it. It's just one of those.
Yeah. I enjoyed Batman the Brave and the Bold. I enjoyed watching that, the animated one. That was great. I loved the way the characters were drawn and the lighting and the shading and stuff. I like that. The big blocky looking characters in that show. That's why I enjoy drawing mine like that, because I thought that was a pretty cool way to draw.
Yeah, it was a great way, and great voice acting with that as well.
Yeah.
Like, just amazing cast overall for sure. Like, I loved what they've done, and animation has only gotten better. Like, as
it sure has. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
What's a piece of advice you ignored that you now swear by?
to not get out of your comfort zone. Like there's a few of my friends who didn't want to get out of doing traditional. I was one of those people who thought, I could do traditional and it'll be all right. But like once I found out like I could do better with digital art and make my artwork and my word art and my lettering and my characters look even better, I decided to jump into digital, and it's been a total different ball game. So yeah, that's one of the advices. Like you got to step out of your comfort zone. Like if you're a traditional artist, definitely try digital art because it'll help enhance what you already have. So that's one of the things I started doing when I first got Procreate on my tablet. I would take my traditional artworks in there and color them, and I'd be like, okay, that's a lot better than if I was to sit here with my pencils and do it. That's a lot better. So yeah, that's definitely one of the things is like if some people just they enjoy doing traditional, but I think sometimes you need to just do digital and just try other avenues to see if that'll help you out even more. And that's where I started. Was I was one of those guys just like, I'm not gonna do digital, I'm gonna stay traditional. And then I did digital. And I was like, okay, I think I'm a little more better at this side of the aisle, so I'm gonna stay here for a little while.
Criticism is always either in the forefront when it comes to online comments or whatever, or when it comes to your creativity or something you post, or maybe it's an one-on-one interaction. How do you handle criticism, especially from, say, readers?
I've had a lot of good people when Blood Table was funded. They've done reviews of my book, and I know what I need to do better at, and I enjoy that type of criticism because I want to be the best artist I can be. And one of them is my lettering. I definitely need to work on that. It's something I pride myself on being better each and every day. And I think with my Red Cloud Force story that's going to come out next year, it's already looking better than my previous work. So I plan to get better each and every year. That's my goal, is to make the next book just a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. But yeah, if you're afraid of taking criticism, you don't need to be an artist, because you have to hear back from the people who are supporting you. Because if you want to be better and have people back your stuff, you got to listen to them. And so, yeah, when people are like, hey, work on your lettering and, work on some of your dialogue pieces and stuff like that, I was like, okay, I can do that. I can be a better writer. I can write, better than that. It's only my second funded, comic I've ever done. So I definitely could work on the lettering and doing more dialogue and doing the little pop up of the word art in the book. So yeah, definitely criticism is worth it. I think if you're not worthy of taking criticism, you shouldn't be an artist, honestly, because to be an artist, you have to take that criticism. And sometimes you're not going to like it, but it's going to help you. And some people are doing it because they want to see you be successful. And I think that's the greatest thing about criticism is there's people who want to be in your corner, and to listen to those people who want to be in your corner. So that's what I pride myself on is, when people say, hey, Doherty, you can do a little bit better here. Hey, here's some things I can send you a link here. Here's how to do better poses. Here's how to do, better covers for your book and stuff like that. I take pride in that because it's people who actually see potential in me and want to see me be better. And I appreciate everyone who's ever done that for me.
Yeah, you take criticism with a grain of salt. If they're actively, like you said, trying to improve your work, or they see something maybe that you can do better on, at least they're letting you know. It's better than sitting in a bubble thinking, oh no, I'm the greatest or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you think you're the greatest, oh, you're going to have a hard fall. It's going to be very hard when you hit the ground. So yeah, I don't try to be the best at anything. I try to be the best me. I try to beat myself, because if I'm beating myself, then I'm winning. So that's kind of how, like, I played college football, stuff like that. So I have that mentality of it's me versus me. So that's what I do anytime I draw something. It's me versus me. So anytime I look at an old book that I've created, I'm like, okay, I've gotten better. I like that. I like that. I like the new me coming out. I like it.
So what's a scene or character you loved but had to cut, and why?
My Liar book has a lot of gory stuff in it. And there was a page in there that, I'll spoil this part because it was a part where a character was going to be brutally cut out of there. But I didn't want that to happen that way, because it would have defeated the whole purpose of Liar's story coming out in August. And so when I was doing Liar, it's about halfway through. I was like, I don't want to kill off this character. I want it to have a purpose for, future storylines, what this character represents for future stories. So yeah, definitely in Liar, there's a page where there's a character that's very important to Liar's story that we'll see in future stories. So I didn't want to kill it off, the character that I had in there. It's a very important character. So I was like, if I kill him off now, he won't be usable in the future. And I had this character in my previous book of Crescent Blue, and I was like, if I kill him now, then the Crescent Blue story isn't going to make any sense. So I was like, I had to make sure that that didn't happen. So yeah, definitely. Like, I even went through all my script, and I was like, okay, I'm going to try to fix it a little more and a little more. So I had to rewrite a few pages and fix things. So I was like, okay, because when I was reading, I always enjoy rereading my books. I'm like, okay, I know what I can do in future stories because I didn't cut it out of this one. So it's like, yeah, I enjoy being able to have my books and read them and say, okay, I made a great decision, because if I did that, it wouldn't make sense in the future stuff.
So, do you have a non-comic related skill or hobby that's improved your work?
I love working out. Like I said, I played at a HBCU. I'm Cherokee. Oklahoma's been my home pretty much my whole life. So yeah, just that natural mentality of like getting up and just having a routine of just being able to work out at least 20, 30 minutes a day. And just doing that helps me focus and helps me feel better and helps me, think about, future things that I want to do in my books. Because I already have my stuff planned out till 2028. So I have stories I have planned already ready in action to go. I always make sure that, when I'm working out, I'm like, okay, here we go. I just want to be able to be that kind of artist, just like takes care of my physical and mental health. So that's what I do when I'm not drawing. I'll take care of my family and I'll work out and I'll make sure that I'm physically fit, because I think that helps in general. It also helps my anxiety and stuff whenever I'm overthinking, because I overthink a lot. So yeah, definitely working out is a thing I love to do. I used to also be a football coach. So it's just like I always personally just enjoy just taking time for myself in that 30 minutes a day, just to be able to just take care of this body. It just helps me in my artistic realm.
You talk about recharging yourself with obviously working out here, but what about creative? How do you recharge that?
Oh, that's awesome. I love that question. Usually when I decide, if I want to do a comic, I'll draw my comic for a little while, and I'm like, okay, I'm done doing superheroes for a minute. I'll usually do some fan art and stuff like that and draw some other characters that I haven't touched in a while. Like, there's a few characters I want to go back and upgrade that I haven't touched in like 4 years. So that always gets my creative juices flowing, while I can go back to my, I'm on DeviantArt. So I love looking at my old artworks, and I'm like, I can do better on that one. And I like to redraw some of my old stuff and see how I've progressed in my art. So that's what I love to do when I kind of get like a little, down about, okay, I don't want to do another 40-page book for a minute. What can I do to buy some time? I'll just do like some cover arts, or I'll do some fan arts, or I'll just do some original characters I haven't touched in a while. And that's always helpful, because it's like, okay, I've drawn this character. He can be used for something in the future. So it is always a great time to just sit there and just redraw some old stuff that I do. I love redrawing my old art. That's pretty much what keeps my creative juices flowing whenever I just go back on DeviantArt and I'm like, okay, I like this blood sable piece. I'm going to do a better job this time.
Oh, that's great here. What's one thing you would tell aspiring comic authors to stop doing immediately?
Doubting yourself. Honestly, I think a lot of artists, whenever they do a project, they're too scared to put it out there. And some of them put them out there too late, or they do it too early. I think, honestly, if you're done with the project, put it out there. Put it out there for all to see. At least someone's going to love it. And like with my Shapemaster book, it's my first kid's book. I was afraid people wouldn't like it, but there's people who enjoy it, and that means I'm doing something right. There's something that people enjoy, and I'm going to try to push that avenue a little more in the future. I have 2 more kids book I plan to do. So yeah, I think people should not be afraid to put their stuff out there. Like, don't be afraid of it. Like, if you're afraid to put it out there, it's never going to happen. And if you're afraid that it's never going to happen, then you shouldn't have done it in the first place. Because if you're too afraid to just be like, hey, here it is, look at it, please enjoy it. Like I said, my Liar first project failed, but I wasn't scared. I wasn't too scared to show it off. I wanted to be like, hey, here's me as an artist and a writer, please enjoy. And it almost funded. So it's like, I was like, okay, I got this. I got this. If people are starting to enjoy it, I'm going to try again. And I tried again and I tried again. So I think, honestly, don't be afraid. I think that's what keeps most creative people, in their lane that they're in, is that they're too afraid to try something that they're they've never done before. I think that's what you need to do as a person too, as well. If you're too, you got to get out of that comfort zone, because sometimes the comfort zone is not meant to be comforting all that time. It's just for a little while. So I think just don't be afraid of whatever project you have, because there's people who's going to like it and there's people who's not. So just put it out there while you can, because you never know if you're going to be able to do it again.
Is there anything I haven't asked you you'd like me to ask you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. Like I said, I'm launching Lyra on August 12th, and Shapemaster ends April 9th at 11:30 p.m. Central Time. So if people want to support it, that would be awesome. I'd appreciate it so much. We're almost there, under $100. So I'm just like, I'm almost there. Let's go.
Everyone has one person that inspired them on their path to where they are today. Who was that for you?
My son, Ryder. My son, when he was born back in 2015, I put down art for a while. I went to high school. High school, I did art. I did art in college, and then I met my wife. And then when he was born, it just got the creative juices flowing again. And so when I was in the hospital with my wife for 9 months, I literally worked at the hospital. So I'd work night shift, and then I'd stay with her. And so when he was born, I was just like, I want to create stuff for him. I want him to see dad's creativity. And so I drew little characters here and there. And then he was the reason why Blood Sable was created. I wanted to create a character for him. So my son is the biggest inspiration for me. Blood Sable is his character that I create for him. All his villains are created on some of his tics and stuff that he has in his life. And so, yeah, my son is the biggest person who inspired me. Like, if it wasn't for my son, I don't think I'd be where I am right now with all these kids' books and all this other future stuff I have going on. So, yeah, he loves the books I create. He loves Shapemaster. He loves Kevin and Bob, my little alien book. I haven't even published that. I haven't put that on Kickstarter yet. And the book's already, I'm going to have put tape on it. He's read it so many times. So shout out to my son, Ryder. He has autism, but he doesn't let it stop him. And that's another inspiration for me, is that he does the best he can. He can't speak. He's nonverbal, but he's the loudest person in the room. I love him. And just shout out to Ryder, Bubba. Love you, kid.
From a professional standpoint, you've created your world of comics. You've also created Shapemaster, Lyre, and many more, I'm sure, in the future. So from a professional standpoint, you are successful. Do you consider yourself personally successful?
Yes, because I've already, the books that I created already are in people's hands. They have them for forever now. Yeah, that's to me is the biggest success, is when people buy your books, the things you worked hard on. It doesn't matter to me if I'm super filthy rich or my characters are on the screen. I just enjoy that people back my books and they have them for the rest of their life, and that the people are reviewing them and that they have them for the rest of their lives. So yeah, definitely just feel like I did it. I've set out what I have accomplished to do, the little things, and the little things are becoming big things.
The reverse of success is failure. How do you deal with your failures?
Just keep going. Like I said, with Lyre failing, I almost decided to quit, but then I took that failure and made it into something even better. Like I said, I have all my books sitting here that I've pretty much finished. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, that was the biggest failure I had, was Lyre, my first Lyre book not funding, and it almost crushed me. And I'm proud that I didn't let it. And so, I am where I am now because I just kept trucking through.
The younger generation is looking at your work and becoming inspired to be creative. And the fact that you're doing this for your younger generation with your son is amazing to see. And hopefully he becomes a creative person in the future, or whatever he would like to become.
I hope so.
How can they inspire the generation that follows them?
I think, honestly, like I said, when I'm old, I don't know what the younger generation's going to do, but I think what has been planted now is going to help them in the future. Like, the comics and stuff that are being made now are definitely going to inspire the younger kids, because eventually they're going to come back and say, "Hey, Dad, what did you enjoy growing up?" Or they'll have that question spear up in their minds. And I think the younger generation, they'll look back and they're going to be inspired by all the things that have passed. And I think some of my books as well, I've had some people tell me that my art and stuff has inspired them to create what they, love and enjoy. So that's been pretty cool to have people reach out to me and say that. But I think the younger generation, they're going to be all right. They got plenty of things to be inspired by from the 90s on. So they're definitely going to find something that they're going to enjoy, because, there's going to be books. People are going to continue to write, continue to color, continue to create. So there's going to be so many avenues that possibly more with, AI and stuff. So there's going to be a lot more avenues for the younger generation because they have their cell phones, laptops, everything's becoming digital. You can find things pretty easy. So it's going to be pretty easy and simple for those kids. I think honestly, just they need to try to find that tiny bit of uniqueness, just a little bit, because everybody's trying to be unique in their own way. And I think that's what's going to separate a lot of people in the future is that one little tiny bit of uniqueness. And I think there's going to be plenty of kids who are going to find it.
If your life was a comic book, what would its title be? And what would its soundtrack be?
Oh, this is easy. A Bittersweet Symphony.
Okay. Yeah.
By The Verve. Yeah. That's my favorite song of all time. It's literally my life. That song is my life. My wife's singing it right now in the background. Yeah. A Bittersweet Symphony is just like I said, I grew up, my father, I'll say it now. He was an alcoholic, wasn't a great father, abusive father. My mother walked out on me when I was a kid. Pretty much statistics show that, kids without both their parents don't live a good life. They mostly end up in prison, in jail, or doing drugs and stuff. I wasn't that person. I went through life doing the best I could. That's who I was. I made sure I was a great student in and out of the classroom. I was a great athlete in and off the field. And it helped me propel myself to be able to be the first person in my family to go to college to play football and to be the first person in my family to go play at a historically Black college, which was pretty cool. So, and the people that surrounded me there, and my great coach Richard Wilson, great man, just a man who believed in me because, that day I showed up at training camp, there was 200 players and coach said, most of y'all aren't going to make it on this team. And so I had to go through that adversity as well. So my whole life has been a bittersweet symphony. Like I've had a lot of downs, but there's been downs, and there's been ups. And then I met my wife and had my son, and it's been hard, being an autistic parent. It's very hard. You have to be routine oriented. You have to just, things are going to happen that you don't expect with a kid with autism. So you got to be patient, but you know what? It's been worth the ride. It's helped me be a better father, a better husband, a better person. So, I have flaws, some days are better than others, but my life has been bittersweet. And I think that's literally, if people were to write a book about me, that's what it would be. They'd be like, oh man, he's went through a lot, but he's also done a lot. He's been through a lot, but he's kept the course. And that's pretty much been my life. There's been a lot of things that should have kept me down that I should already, I shouldn't have the great life that I have now and be able to do the things that I have. So, there's a higher power up there watching over me. I truly believe in that. And, that's pretty much it for me. Like a bittersweet symphony is what my life would be written as. And, when I go to my grave, I just want people to know that I put my heart and soul to everything that I did my whole life. I got the scars to prove it. So that's pretty much it for me. I'm just thankful that I'm on this course where I'm at now. I did football for a while. I decided to get back into art again, and I got books that I can't wait to show people. And I got more books to order hopefully soon. So I'm just, I've been through all these avenues in my life. I went down this bumpy road and I finally came out on the other side of the tunnel.
Well, DeWayne, I hate to say it, but that ends this particular episode of Two Geeks Talking. I want to thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Kurt. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for working with me to be on it. It means a lot. Thank you.
Anytime. But we want people to support you. So where can we find you? How can we support you? Where is this Kickstarter campaign and your upcoming Liar and anything else you would like to promote?
Yeah, Shapemaster is on Kickstarter right now. There's 4 days to go. The Kickstarter ends April 9th at 11:30 p.m. I plan to launch Liar on August 12th of this year. So that'll be my last book of pretty much phase one of the Wakeverse. You can find me on IG at Rydeshow, and it's RYDESCHO. And you can find my Wakeverse on IG as well. I have Wake Comics on Facebook. And you can follow me on YouTube as well at Rydeshow. And I post my art and stuff there as well. So people can see future projects and stuff I'm working on over there on YouTube. So yeah, and I have a link tree. People want to check it out on my Instagram of other things, if they want to check out previous Kickstarters and stuff like that. But I have a link tree at Rydeshow as well. So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. Mostly Instagram and stuff like that. I post my art on DeviantArt, and I use X to do stuff over there as well at Rydeshow.
Well, like I said, that ends this particular episode of Two Geeks Talking. You can, of course, find this interview and 1,200 plus others. Unfortunately, our website is borked, but go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/TGT Media. It's, of course, Two Geeks Talking. You can, of course, find the podcast at Two Geeks Talking, TWO.podbean.com, or just search Two Geeks Talking wherever you get your podcasts. And as I say every week, everyone has a story to tell. It's up to me to help bring that out. Thanks for listening, watching on Two Geeks Talking.